009, I finally got a location fix on you. Remember, I told you that I was relieving you from Operation Bedlam.
But Sir, Kropotkin's a bit of a must with me.
You've had 2 years to run him down.
Does this mean you've lost confidence in me?
I'm well aware of your talents, 009, but a license to kill is useless unless one can set up a target. I'll find you a more suitable assignment, that's all.
I asked Moneypenny to take a memo and had the honour to request my resignation from Her Majesty's Secret Service, effective forthwith.
Yes, I saw the memo and granted you 2 weeks' leave.
I heard you were running a very tight ship today. I wasn't expecting a knighthood. So I've just popped out to buy my future father-in-law some Corsican brandy for his birthday.
So you're still pursuing the Countess?
Yes, Mark-Ange Drago told me some of his men had recently defected to Kropotkin, and he'd tell his future son-in-law Kropotkin's current location, and assumed he'd reassign me.
Really?
Yes. He said it'd be a pleasure to meet the man who cost him 3 of his best operatives.
Yes, the 1964 bullion job. He made off with quite a chunk of that haul. And Ballard, Q Branch would like to see you.
Tell Q this time I've got the gadgets and I know how to use them. Now, why don't you get back to your lepidoptery and your unusually small Nymphalis polychlorus? I've got some birthday brandy to buy. And a wedding ring. Can I see that one, please?
Of course. There you go, sir.
It's perfect. I'll take it. Welcome friends, welcome one and all. Blair Ballard, the bon vivant, very much at your service. Well, today I'm on Her Majesty's Secret Service because, well, we're here rather appropriately on Bond Street, outside Sotheby's, the oldest auction house in the world, and obviously the star of Octopussy, in that amazing scene when Kamal Khan and James Bond are in a bidding war for the Imperial State Coach, and then Roger Moore does that amazing switcheroo with a fake Fabergé egg. Incredible. But we're here because a part of Bond history is going under the hammer this week. Let's go in and check it out. Come on. So we're here in the St George Street Gallery here at Sotheby's, where some rather tasty lots are going to be going under the hammer, including some posters, watches, but we're here for the fine jewellery and a couple of absolute Bond legends. So here we are with Jemima Chamberlain Adams, who's a specialist here in fine jewellery. Thanks so much for taking time out of your busy day. Now, when we were in contact first, I thought we were going to see one of the rings from on a Majesty Secret Service, but
We happily have both rings from the film, which is a kind of a historic moment because they haven't been together for more than 50 years. And very kindly, the owner of the one from 2019 has let us exhibit both together. So we're very pleased about that.
because Charles the Temple only made the 2 rings,
Yeah, that's
didn't
correct.
he, for the film?
Just 2 rings for the film, and it said all the time in the world. And then because they were so popular, he then made 50 more copies, but changed the design very slightly to say all the love in the world.
Sure.
So
I mean, it's.
yeah.
I mean, I can't believe. And this is a geek out moment for me. I mean, can we look at them in closer detail?
Definitely, please feel free to pick them up.
So this larger one is the one that has already been sold
Back in 2019,
2019,
yeah.
and it busted all estimates, didn't it? It was
Yeah.
estimated to go
Under the £10,000 mark we thought it was going to achieve, but it far exceeded our expectations and went for about 52,000, I think it was. So we're all very excited about that.
Now, a bit about Charles the Temple. He was born in Mexico.
Yes, he was born in Mexico, but he was based in the UK as a jewellery designer. So we're going to claim him for ourselves. But he was an iconic designer, very prolific during the 60s and 70s. He was a contemporary of Andrew Grima, Alan Martin Guard, amongst others who were known as the kind of British Modernist movement. And you can see the style between them is not the same, but there is a similarity. It's very abstract, organic. They had very kind of pioneering methods of using gold and working with it. So yeah, he was very much part of the swinging 60s era. And you can find his designs in the V&A as well now.
And he produced a brooch that the Queen gave to her sister Margaret.
Yeah.
Things that to my dearest sister, love Lilibet. I mean, it's so sweet. So he was big. I mean,
Yeah.
he had lots of kind of the glitterati. He was one of the darlings of the
jewelry
Modernist.
world. Yeah, definitely, yeah.
And that caught the eye of Eon, who, first of all, in 1964, he made the gold finger that Honor Blackman wore to the premiere of Goldfinger.
Yeah, as I learned the other day. This is a new thing of knowledge for me.
So cool. Seriously, guys, both rings in the same place at the same time. I can't believe it. Now, they're slightly different sizes. The one that was sold in 2019 is slightly larger.
Yeah.
The one that's up for sale, the sale's on the...
It's on the 10th,
10th.
yeah, on the 10th, so in a few days' time. But yeah, it's a slightly smaller size, fits my finger, so maybe it should be for me.
Okay, guys. What estimate have you put on for the ring coming up this week?
So this one's on at 15 to 20,000. We already have about 7 bids on the ring, and we're closing in on the top estimate, so we're at 19,000 right now. Already. So we see quite a lot of interest in the beginning few days of the auction. It kind of quietens down, and then towards the end, we're going to see a lot more interest, especially in the last day, I'd say. So obviously, we would love it to achieve the same price as the last one. We'll just have to wait and see because we never know what the market's going to pay. But I wouldn't see why not.
Well, I mean, how's it been? Because obviously, in a broader sense, with COVID and the pandemic has pushed lots of business to the online auctions. You do online auctions as well, don't you?
Yeah, so our jewellery sales for the last year or so have been predominantly based online, especially in London. And we found that it's worked very well for us. Our clients are very happy to kind of go onto the website and bid in that regard. Our sell-through rates have increased this year, so we're seeing good results. So we weren't too worried about our online kind of presence there.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
And if somebody wanted to, I mean, do they go through the Sotheby's website to register there?
Yeah, so you just go onto the Sotheby's website and you can log in on the top corner, or you can register there. You just provide a form of photo ID and then you're good to go with bidding. So it's a relatively simple process, and you can bid on your computer or on the app on the phone.
So keep my fingers crossed for my lottery numbers to come up this week.
Yeah.
So yeah, if my lottery numbers came up or my first name was Sheikh, this is just, it's the emotion and the kind of poignancy of the film. I mean, it's such an amazing scene. I think George Lazenby did an incredible job. That last scene, especially, after Diana Rigg is shot.
There's no hurry, you see. We have all the time in the world.
We first see the ring when Bond and Tracy are window shopping during the romantic montage of them falling in love as Louis Armstrong sings "We Have All the Time in the World." They spot the ring in the Joalheria Ferreria Marques on the Praça de Dom Pedro in Lisbon. There was a scene shot inside the jewellers of Tracy trying on the ring, but they were cut from the final edit of the film, unfortunately. Later, we see Lazenby pulling up in his Aston Martin DBS outside the shop. And the manager then takes the ring from the window display. We then see Diana Rigg wearing the ring in the wedding scene shot at the Vinhas estate in Zambujal in southern Portugal. Then, obviously most poignantly, George Lazenby reads the words on the ring aloud as he cradles his dead bride in his arms.
There's no hurry, you see. We have all the time in the world.
It's all sort of encapsulated in this ring. Obviously,
Yeah.
you've got all the time in the world with Louis Armstrong's dulcet tones, you know, going through the film, the romance. It's just encapsulated in that ring.
Yeah, I mean, that ring is the film. It's, you know, that phrase is throughout the film as a theme. So I think it is a perfect piece for any fan of that film.
Absolutely. I mean, it's not just a beautiful piece of jewellery, it's sculpture, it's cinematic history, it's Bond cinematic history. I mean, if I had the money, I think it's just exquisite. Is it your style? Do you like the sort of modernist?
I do, yeah. I'm a big fan of the modernist movement. Like I said, Charles Temple's pieces are always iconic and they always come up for auction with a lot of interest. So I think to be able to have something like that in your collection, it would be amazing. So yeah, big fan here.
I mean, it's a shame because, I mean, it's possibly the last time these two will be seen together.
Yeah, very possibly.
They might get squirreled away in somebody's collection and never seen again, but we were talking about before, you think they might, if there's an exhibition or something, a Bond exhibition or a Charles Temple exhibition.
Very possibly. I mean, you never know what could happen in the future. Like you said, they could very much just be in someone's safe and not be seen, but we always hope in the future that people will be generous enough to share them with the public at some point.
I mean, it's just... So, I mean, talk about the process. I mean, what's the actual material? What are the materials used? Is it, it's gold and...
It's 18 karat gold, white gold and yellow gold. In terms of making it, it would have been quite a kind of intricate way of making. I'm not a jeweller, so I wouldn't know the exact process, but it is to do with his way of melting gold in order to form that specific design. But it is completely unique. I haven't seen anything like it.
No.
Even within the British modernist movement, the things you see are obviously very organic and abstract, quite angular, which you do see the organicness in here, but it is also just very Bond, very 60s, it's just great.
Absolutely. Now, looking closer, if we look at getting closer, you can see we have all the time in the world on the inside as well as on the outside.
Yeah, so 2 for 1.
It
Yeah,
is
but on the inside and
amazing.
outside, it's a beautiful design. It's just well thought. That's what we love about jewellery designers who think about the inside or the reverse of something, because that's as important as the external piece that you're showing to everybody else. It just shows a kind of different level of attention.
Now, what do you think drives the, I mean, the Bond franchise seems to make people a bit crazy on the clicking for the bidding. What do you
Yeah.
think, has caused that?
I think it's what you just said. It's buying a piece of history that you wouldn't usually be able to get your hands on. There's no shop you can go to buy something like this. These come up very rarely, so people want. There's a supply and demand issue, as you'd say, but people are also connected to Bond. He's a part of British history. He's this suave gentleman. I think a lot of men can associate with. He's a hero,
Yeah, men want to be him and
Yeah.
women want to be with him.
There we go.
Well, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
For taking time out of
Absolute
your
pleasure,
day. That's
yeah.
absolutely wonderful. Now, we've got an extra little bonus for you because there is a watch here which has a connection to a certain Honor Blackman as well. So we're going to have a quick look at that. But for the moment, Jemima, thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure.
It's been an absolute joy.
Thank you for coming in.
I can't believe it. Both of them here, the only 2 rings. It's a day that will go down, in history for me. Thanks so much.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Have all the time in the world.
Right, we're here with Tom Heap. Thanks a lot, Tom, for taking time out of your day. Watch specialist here at Sotheby's. Now, you're going to talk to us about this watch. What's special about this watch and the Bond connection?
There. So this is a reference 6542. It's essentially the first Rolex GMT model. It's nicknamed the kind of Bakelite sub, but also known as the Pussy Galore, as it's essentially the reference of the watch that the character played by Honor Blackman wore in Goldfinger. They're fantastic watches. So the thing that kind of sets them apart from most other Rolex is the Bakelite bezel, which is something which was kind of trialed in the 50s. Fortunately, Bakelite's not too good for you, paired with the radium as well.
Radium?
Yeah, so radium's the material, the luminous material on the inside.
Sure.
So As opposed to a lot of Rolex that just are luminous on the dial, this one is also luminous on the bezel.
So if we actually put the lights down, does it still
Yeah,
glow?
yeah, it would still glow, yeah, absolutely. We can do that in a bit for sure.
Isn't it slightly dangerous though?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly sort of a collector's piece. It's not something you'd want to wear all the time. However, it was they were recalled in the US in the 50s, basically. And so there was a Rolex ad in the paper that said, if you have this specific watch, please return it to your AD and we will put a new bezel on it for you, we'll give you a new watch. So not many survived. The Bakelite bezel's incredibly brittle, it's not very good material.
You think, it would break or crack or chip or...
So actually having one that's still the radium, it's not been relumed or had the radioactive material removed and hasn't cracked or snapped anywhere is kind of hard to come by. It's also a little bit tropical as well, which is, when the dial stops being its kind of classic black gloss color, it starts to go a nice kind of tropical brown.
Yes, like the watch in No Time to Die. He's got that kind of coppery kind of like that.
Yeah, he sure does. Yeah, the Omega Seamaster with the military broad arrow. Yeah, so that's got they call it like a faux Tina. So it's this.
The patina, okay.
Exactly, and creamy lume plots. But yeah, this is the real deal anyway. So this is
It's beautiful. Can I have a look? I mean, so
please.
this was actually not this watch, but a watch like this was
It's
worn
the
by
same reference,
that Pussy Galore wore in the film.
Yeah.
How much is this going for in the estimate?
We've got this in at 20 to 40,000. Considering what modern Rolex are trading for, it's really good for a 1950s Rolex. It was the kind of period where they really, just started to form an identity of who they were as a Rolex as a company. Mm-hmm. They'd stopped producing more kind of calendar pieces and had found their niche with the Submariner and the GMT and had gone full kind of sport. But the nice thing about this as well is, it's in Goldfinger, Pussy Galore is a pilot, and it was produced kind of alongside Pan Am with Rolex, with the idea that their pilots could track several time zones at the same time.
That's right, I remember.
GMT time.
Of course. Well, I'm not a watch specialist or watch guy, but I'm a what? Oh, you lent me this one as well. What's this one here? Sorry, before we go.
So,
what have we got here?
Sticking to the theme, in the books, the Fleming books, he was kind of described as wearing a Rolex, and the kind of description kind of really leads to the Explorer. So that's, I suppose you could say the real Bond watch. That was one he sort of had in Dr. No. But again, it's a classic for Rolex. It's a steel sports model. Also radioactive on the dial.
This is so light though, it's
Super
really light.
Yeah, the early bracelets, this is a riveted bracelet as opposed to the kind of chunkier filled links and machined links you'll see nowadays. Mm-hmm. Just at the time it was just, the fastest way to mass produce stuff like this. They literally folded metal and riveted through it.
It's amazing.
But yeah, this is a reference 6150. It is in the sale at 10 to 20, and I think we've got a bid in at 10,000 already. But it's quite nice. Usually they don't have Explorer at 6 o'clock. It usually has Precision, which is a reference to the kind of movement. Mm-hmm. This is quite an unusual one. So it's we believe it's retro-printed by Rolex onto the dial in a slightly different color. So
this could be the original Bond watch, really?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's in my books, like the Explorer is we'll call it the Fleming watch, if you will. Mm-hmm. But he doesn't. I don't think he wears it in any of the movies. But
sure.
But yeah, no, it's certainly an unusual one and pretty cool.
Fantastic. Well, I just want to say thanks to Tom and also, of course, Jemima for taking time out of that. It's been such an amazing day for me. So thanks so much.
Pleasure.
For your time.
No worries.
Well, there we go, guys. This has been Blair Ballard, the Bon Vivant, bidding you a very Bond farewell. If you've enjoyed this video, please do consider smashing those like and subscribe buttons. Do turn on notifications so you know when the next video drops. Also, leave some comments down below as to any videos you'd like to see in the future. But for now, stay safe friends, we'll see you next time.
Love the way